Module 10, Am I Referrable? More specifically, are you referrable? Have a look at the document that comes with this module. There are two pictures right at the beginning. One of a certain individual sitting at a cafe and another of another individual sitting in the same position, same table, same cafe. But on seeing them, you'll realize that there's an instant sense of trust for the one versus the other. There's something about that individual that would just draw you to him rather than push you away with him. There's something that you expect through your impression to provide a particular experience that will result in your deciding to work with that person as opposed to the other. Now, what is that? The whole subject of referrable, you may wonder why we're talking about it within the context of prospecting. And that's because clients work with advisors that they know, like, and trust. People work with people that they know, like, and trust. And that takes time in many cases. And time is relative, so it could be a long time or a short time, but it's time. And those are three traditionally defined ingredients to being referred, but there's more than that. The advisor that's referred by an existing client has done so on the back of the experience that the advisor gives the client. They go through a particular process, and the client walks away from that process feeling a certain way. And it's on the back of that feeling that they'll do business again with the advisor and refer the advisor. Now, if you as the advisor, when prospecting clients, can create a similar experience of trust, you will have a far greater chance of converting that prospect to a client. Now, the subject of money is still taboo. People don't naturally refer to people that have anything to do with their personal lives. Psychologist, financial advisor, things that they won't talk openly and transparently about in their social lives. So it takes a fair amount of work in order to get yourself to a point where you are referred and referable. Take that idea and that thinking and move it into the prospecting space. The most obvious point of departure in this respect is the first impression that you make. And it could be as simple as how you greet someone, whether you smile, how you shake their hand, your body language, your proximity from the other person, where you meet and how you are introduced and how you respond to that introduction, the words that you use, the way that you are dressed. All of those factors can play a role in the impression that that prospect has of you, and as a result, the experience that they have of you. And that starting point, the moment at which you meet and depart or move into the conversation where you have an interest in enrolling them as a client, they are making up their mind about you. The more control you have over that time, the more control you have over their decision. We explore a number of factors in the worksheet attached, and we go through a number of exercises so that you can build yourself up to provide the best possible experience. I've invited Candice Puri, an image consultant, to spend some time with us. She's created 15 minutes of exclusive content just for you, the financial advisor attending the Insane Prospecting course. Enjoy.
Thanks, Jason. Hi everyone, I'm Candice Puri and I am a personal style coach and image consultant. What I do is help people learn how to dress for their unique personality and lifestyle as well as business, so that they can really go on to feel confident in their own skin and reach their goals. This is particularly important in the business world when it comes to personal brand image, especially when you are client facing. It's super important to know how to dress and how to present yourself in order to close those deals. So today I'm going to chat to you about dressing for business and how you can carry yourself, which can influence the impression that you leave. You've probably heard it before that first impressions count. I'm sure you have. Now that is because it is 100% true. People will judge you within the first 7 seconds of meeting them. I know it sounds harsh, but it really is true. Before you've had the chance to open your mouth and say a word, people will judge you. They will assume things about you. They will make their minds up about who you are and what you're all about in those first 7 seconds. So it is really important that you create the best first impression that you can, especially when you want to create lasting relationships with clients on an ongoing basis. So let's talk about dress code. I normally say dress for the job that you want or for the deal that you want to close. Now, obviously, we're all on Zoom calls these days, which is slightly different, but the rules still apply. Make sure you know who you are meeting and where you are meeting so that you can dress accordingly. You don't want to look overdone or underdone, so it's very important to know the occasion that you are dressing for. What you wear conveys a message about who you are and what you value. It can 100% impact your success and influence how others perceive you. This is called credibility. It's really important to know that it doesn't cost a fortune to look polished. We all assume that we need to wear designer clothing, designer brands and labels, but we really don't have to. It does not need to cost a fortune as long as what you do wear fits these few things. It needs to fit you properly. So if it doesn't, get yourself a tailor or go to a store where they will make clothes or resize clothes specially for you. You don't want clothes to be too loose or too tight, as that can look scruffy. Color is super important, so know what colors work for you and wear those. I do color palette consultations with people, and that helps them to know what colors suit them that will really allow them to radiate. And this applies for men and women. So make sure that you know what colors suit you and wear those. They really will give you extra confidence and allow you to come across even brighter, even more friendly, or even more powerful, depending on what message you want to give across. So that is important. And then lastly, you need to make sure that you look neat and tidy. So as I said, you don't want your clothes to be too big or too small, as that can look scruffy. The same goes for your clothing having creases in them, your shirts, your trousers, your jackets. You don't want to have creased clothing. Again, it looks scruffy and messy, and also like you haven't put in much effort. So iron your clothes or get them steamed and make sure that they look neat and tidy. Another important thing is your trousers. Make sure that your trousers are the correct length. The same goes for shirt sleeves. They can be too long or too short, and that creates a specific message. So make sure that what you do wear fits you and suits you. And that brings me to my next point, which is grooming. It's super important to put some time and effort into your appearance and also your personal hygiene. This really does not only play a part of leaving a good first impression, but also for your own confidence and self-esteem. We all know that when we feel confident, we're much more inclined to close the business deal. So make sure that you've groomed yourself and you are clean and you're maintaining your personal hygiene, as that really does go a long way. So there are 5 things that I want to discuss with you on the grooming point. Number 1 is the way you smell. So please invest in a good antiperspirant. We don't want body odor. We don't want the other person that we're meeting to notice if we are sweaty, because generally in a business meeting you will be a little bit nervous and you will generally be sweating, especially if it's a hot day. So make sure that you're using a good antiperspirant that works for you. Then also make sure that your cologne or your perfume is not overpowering. So find a scent, yes, that lasts, that you can smell, that makes you feel confident, that gives off a good impression, that someone else would enjoy, but it must not overpower you and be the only thing that the other person notices. Then number 2 is your hair. Make sure your hair is always clean and make sure that it is well groomed. So have a haircut, have your beard shaved. You know, for women, make sure that your hair is, I would say, loose 90% of the time. If it is up, make sure it's still styled, because you want the person to see that you've put in some effort and that you haven't just rushed from bed or from another meeting or from the gym. You want to actually look like you've put in a little bit of time and effort into preparing for your business meeting. So make sure that your hair is clean and that it's styled. And for men, make sure your hair is also groomed and that your beard is looked after if you have one. I would suggest being clean shaven, but I know that the rules have relaxed a little bit these days, especially now that we're working from home. But that doesn't mean we can just let it all go and let it all out. So please make sure that you groom any facial hair that you have. Then number 3 is your fingernails. Now, especially if you are going to be drawing diagrams or writing notes or, taking down notes in a notebook, it's very important to make sure that your fingernails are clean and also manicured. So for men, this also applies to you. Make sure your nails are neat and short and clean. And for women, please don't wear very bright, bold colors or different colors on different fingernails. I know we have the tendency to play around with our nails these days, but rather keep that for holidays or for weekends. And if you know you have business meetings during the week, make sure your nails are rather neutral. Red is fine, but don't go too bright or too bold. I would stick to more neutral colors, and a little bit shorter than longer is probably a better idea. Then number 4 is makeup. You don't want to wear too much makeup, ladies. This can be something that can be lost in translation. Yes, you do need to wear makeup, but we don't want you to wear too much that you look like you're almost trying too hard, or like you're going to a concert or to a special occasion or a ladies' night. You want to try and you want to look good and you want to look fresh, but you also want to look natural as well as like you've put in a little bit of effort, as I've said before. So pop on some foundation if you need, or just a BB cream. Make sure that you've done a little bit of your cheeks and bronzer, just so that you look a little bit more alive. Definitely always do your brows. So make sure that you frame your face with your brows. If you don't have them, go and get them done, because there are people that can help you. And also, when it comes to lipstick, don't go too bright and bold or too glossy. I would say stick with matte and stick with fairly toned down colors and colors that you know are more natural. We don't want you to wear bright, bold, glossy purple or red. Keep that rather for other occasions. But for business meetings, keep it natural, but still look good and look groomed. Then number 5 is your shoes. Make sure that your shoes are not scuffed and make sure that they are polished. And if for women, make sure your heels are not broken or cracked, because that really does affect the impression that you're giving across, because you want to make sure that you've not only put effort into your face and your hair and your clothing, but your shoes also count. So make sure that you take note of that. And that brings me to my final point, which is accessorizing. Accessories really do a great job at pulling your look together and just finishing it off. And they also do a wonderful job of showing off our personality, but we really need to make sure we choose them wisely. It's very important to make sure that they complement each other, as well as the environment that you're in and your personality, of course. So make sure to keep in mind these points, which I'm going to share with you, as it really, really is important that you know what you're doing when it comes to accessories. So number 1 is that it's better not to wear a sports watch in a business setting. So rather leave your plastic or rubber sports watch for your workouts or the weekend. I know that we have a tendency to wear them with our normal clothes during the day to get our steps up, but they really, really don't do much for a business setting, for a business meeting. So rather leave them at home. If you are a watch person and you do want to wear a watch, then wear a metal watch in silver or gold or any metal that you like, but make sure that it's good quality. And you don't have to really wear an expensive watch. I mean, sometimes they can actually do a little bit too much and make it look like you're trying too hard, and you don't want to give off that impression either. So stick to something neutral, classic, and affordable, that will just tie it all together and look clean and finished. Then the second point is less is always more. So don't wear, for the ladies, earrings with a necklace, with rings, with a watch, with a bangle. It all just gets too much and it can really overpower your look and take the focus away from you. So stick to wearing one ring with a necklace and dainty earrings, or if you're going to wear a statement necklace, then pair it with a nice ring or a bracelet. I wouldn't go with all of the above. So choose them wisely. Stick to 2 or 3 pieces. We don't want rings on all fingers, and we don't want bold earrings with a bold necklace with bold rings. So play it safe and stick to the rule of less is more. The same goes for men. If you're going to wear rings, rather just wear one ring and make sure that it's good quality and also clean. You could definitely wear a watch and a ring, that's absolutely fine, but rather stick to the rule of less is more, as I said. Then number 3 is make sure your jewelry or your accessories are not tarnished and that they are good quality. You want to make sure that they look like you've actually put some thought into them. So, you know, with costume jewelry, I wear it too. There's nothing wrong with it, but you need to make sure that it doesn't tarnish. So when it's gold jewelry, for example, and it starts going that greenish color or a bit bronze, then you know to throw it out and rather get something new, because it really will look messy and untidy. So I hope that makes sense to you. Then number 4 is keep your sunglasses off your head, please. Sunglasses are fine to wear to the meeting, when you're driving in your car, when you're walking, you know, towards the meeting, but as soon as you get there, take them off and put them on the table, put them in your handbag. Do not put them on your head. I know we all have a tendency to do that because it's just easy and quick and it holds your hair out of your face, but it really does look too relaxed, and especially if it's the first time meeting someone, rather keep them off your head. It really will go a long way. Lastly, show your worth and that you value yourself as well as your potential clients by putting in a little bit of effort and making sure that you look professional and well put together. You really will not go wrong. Remember, you want people to remember you. You don't want them to remember your dirty fingernails or your untidy beard or your hairstyle that was all over the place or your bright, colorful hair. These are not things that you want people to remember you by. You want them to remember your message and who you are and what you brought to the table. So just please keep that in mind. And that's me. Wishing you all the best for the rest of this course as well as your future. I have no doubt that you will be successful. Follow these tips and any other tips that you get from Jason, I'm sure will be so valuable. Remember that you are your best asset and what you do is so important for the world. So don't forget that, and all the best.